Smello fragrance nerds, welcome to another episode of Making Sense Makes Sense, the podcast that's all about demystifying the wonderful world of fragrance in a way that is fun and accessible, avoiding all of the usual snobbery, gatekeeping and BS that usually comes with the territory. I'm Thomas Dunkley and I'm your host. I'm a man who lives, breathes and sleeps perfume. I was going to add that I eat and drink perfume to that list, but I think that would be gross, so yeah, I didn't. Just wear your perfume. Don't eat or drink it, please. Anyway, today is the final episode of season 3, and what a season it's been. We've spoken to so many fascinating people within the industry, from perfumers to brand founders, evaluators, podcasters, and more. We've dug deep into the world of perfume, exploring it as a form of protest, how it can have personality, looking at the development process, and speaking to those who are disrupting the industry in the most interesting of ways. What a season indeed. So how does one round off a season like that? Well, the answer is actually very simple, by speaking with someone who can only be described as a legend. My guest today is Alberto Morillas, Master Perfumer at DSM Firmenich. And in his 50-plus year career, Alberto has created a vast array of fragrances, many of which have landed on and remain on the bestseller lists. He's an olfactory hitmaker, and I can guarantee that you have at least one of his fragrances in your collection. Here is just an introduction to some of his greatest hits. Bulgari Man, Bulgari Omnia, Kilian's Good Girl Gone Bad, CK Flippin' 1, Carolina Herrera 212, D&G Light Blue Pour Homme, Estée Lauder Pleasures, Armani Acqua di Gio, Givenchy Pie, Gucci Bloom, Flower by Kenzo, Lancôme Miracle, Lanvin Oxygen, Marc Jacobs Daisy, Mugler Flippin' Cologne, Hello, Penhaligon's Iris Prima, the Salvador Dali fragrance, Versace Bright Crystal, YSL M7. I could literally go on and on. Have I made my point? Okay, good. And all of that's not even including the amazing work that he's done for his own brand, Mizensir, which is where he explores his passion in an intimate and personal manner, resulting in some really, truly beautiful fragrances. Alberto is the most generous of guests and people. A week or so after we recorded this interview, I had the good fortune to actually sit next to him at a very intimate lunch, and we spoke for a long time about his work and his passion, and I, of course, grilled him about some of my favourite of his creations. I have to admit that I did fanboy over Mugler Cologne with him for a good 10 minutes or so, and he was telling me lots of wonderful stories about the making of that fragrance and the humorous little twists that he put into it. He's a very warm, kind, humorous and fascinating man, which I think you'll hear in this interview. So shall we just hear from him? I think that's a very good idea. Let's just dive straight into this legendary interview with this wonderful man after a very brief word from our sponsors. This episode of Making Sense Makes Sense is sponsored by Carium. Listeners will know that I'm all about making fragrance easy and accessible. Everybody should be able to enjoy it without any unnecessary barriers or complexities. So I'm here for anything that makes the process of exploring fragrances easier. Carium are on the same page, which is why I've joined them as brand ambassador. Using a pioneering AI-powered fragrance discovery experience created in Japan in 2019, they offer an entirely new way to explore fragrance intuitively, without the distraction of branding, packaging, or notes. Instead, they translate scent into language. The Scent Sommelier device provides an immersive experience in which the algorithm interprets instinct, information blossoms, and a signature scent is found, harnessing state-of-the-art hardware, software, and AI for a personalized journey. The journey is customer-led. The words you use and your personal associations drive the experience, making it tailor-made to the individual, with Carium's large language model at the heart, driving you to find your next favorite fragrance. Carium the Scent Sommelier can be found in Selfridges on Oxford Street as part of the Thameen counter, and also at the Richmond fragrance boutique Parfum La Danse. So why not pop in and see how Carium's the Scent Sommelier can guide you on your fragrance discovery. It's such a thrill and an honour to be joined today by perhaps the most iconic perfumer of all time, the one and only Alberto Morillas. Alberto, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Thomas. I'm very nervous, huh?
Don't be nervous. I'm a little bit nervous as well, so I suppose we could be nervous together. I wonder, I just talked to you about you as an icon of the industry. And I know, being a perfume nerd, a lot of us see you as kind of this rock star of the industry. I wonder how you feel about that, with people referring to you as a legend or an icon of the industry. How does that make you feel?
Okay. First, Thomas, I tell you, I never think about the passé. I like the present
Mm.
because for me, the present is so important. I'm very proud when I smell in the street, of course, somebody wear my perfume or smell in the plane or smell in the street. But I don't think so much to smell and to remember these moments because it's so hard sometimes when I smell my perfume because I remember all many experiments, many moments very intense, sometimes very hard to create this perfume. Sometimes I don't want to think anymore.
You think about all of the hard work and the sleepless nights that went
Yes.
into it. Yeah. And you're much more focused then on the projects you're working on now. That's where your focus is. You like to think about what you're doing right now.
Okay. My relation with my creation are very intense because my 80% of my job is to have the hope,
Mm.
to think, to create, to imagine of this creation. And it's very intense every day, to realize this creation.
Yeah. It's an intense work, isn't it? Because you're focusing on so many different things, but also trying to make something beautiful for people. That's quite a big weight to have on your shoulders.
And also, never to say I'm alone all the time
Mm.
because I have the privilege to are here in my studio in Geneva, but I'm alone. Nobody. I don't have people to disturb me, and I am all day. I have intensity of this creation because I have the privilege to are alone in Geneva, and I see just some Zoom to have the contact with my customer. But it's different. I love also to have this fusion with my customer as a very important when he come in my studio. But I'm alone, and this is good for me to reflect, to smell, and to enjoy alone to smell my creation.
Yeah, absolutely. And to have the space to think about it. And I want to take you right back because, we're talking about the present now and how you're working now, but I want to know how your relationship with fragrance started. So, when did you first start thinking about not necessarily fragrance, but maybe smell?
Okay, if I remember, I think I love perfume, or not really perfume, because when I'm very young, I don't know exactly what it is a perfume. But I like to when I go to the church and to smell the incense. I remember to the contrast behind the hot summer hot sun and very cold inside of the church. This
Hmm.
contrast. I like also to smell or the in the drugstores, you smell this older perfume. I see also many times my father and my mother to wear some cologne because we are not so rich in this moment in Spain, and we don't have money to wear this very expensive French perfumes. We wear just cologne, very fresh, very easy to wear, but every day we use this type of perfumes. It is my education is to smell good and to have this sensation of to smell good and to have this beautiful sensation.
And that sounds like it was quite formative to you because when I think about a lot of the fragrances you've created, some of the big ones, like thinking about CK1, things that you've done for Dolce and Gabbana, they are very cologne-like in their style, but much more present and long-lasting. So, do you feel that there is a thread that came from your childhood experiences there?
Absolutely sure. Because I remember all my creation is light,
Mm.
is sunny style. I'm very perfect. I'm not a creator, not so dark, very sad. I like to have in my all my creation. I like to have this sunny sensation, the freshness of the patio, the freshness of the water, the beautiful intensity of the sun, and all my creation all and analyze after your question, I think, yes, of course. All my oud, when I create oud, it's sunny oud. It's not dark and very dramatic. I don't like this type of
Mm.
perfume.
Yeah. There's a joyfulness and a lightness.
Yes, and for this CK1, it's so fresh, so unique in this moment when I create the CK1, because you need to remember in this moment, CK1, in the market, you have a very aromatic, very intense aromatic style. And I start to create this type of sensation of Calvin Klein. I remember because he changed so many times the direction. He changed one time he went fresh, another time he went aromatic. And it changed many, many times. But I love so much this brown, Calvin Klein for me, it's so elegant, so eternity, obsession. It's so unique creation. I want to win this one. I work so much, million of modification. And we start with the iced tea. Iced tea, but in the state nobody remember the iced tea. The iced tea is not a very nice brand in this moment. It's just and when you see CK1, you smell CK1, but I remember him. It's unbelievable because the formula is almost the same when I create CK1. This with this Edion, very different, very light, very feminine, very transparency, but it's a very fresh and long lasting because people like this, and it's unbelievable because when I smell in the street CK1, sometimes I don't recognize because I made so many modifications. You can believe. I think I worked for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And I changed so many direction and very, very different mask, different. But now when I see my formula, I'm very impressed because all my creation are very simple.
Mm.
And every element is important in my creation. And sometimes I'm very surprised when I check all this creation because it's still very modern. It's still very yes, very simple but complex.
Mm.
Simple but complex, with
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
complexity.
Yeah, and you can see that when you smell it, and it was such a moment, CK1, because it was so new. No one had really smelled anything like that before. And do you remember what the original brief was that you got for that fragrance?
The brief I tell you, he changed many times. Because in this moment, Calvin Klein change of the teams, the marketing, he don't have the same. But it's ungodly are in charge of this moment for the Calvin Klein, and Hans Gottlieb, she told me, oh, but I don't know, it's not enough strong, it's too light. But I remember my boss in this moment, it's a Patrick Firmenich. He wore it when we go to the opera, and I think he put a tube bottle in and he told to Anne Gottlieb, you smell? Oh, yes, it smells so good. Now I smell very well. But this is too late now because it's not anymore available because another customer love. And now it's too late. And she decided, oh, no, I want to present again to the Calvin Klein. Alberto, tomorrow morning you come with me to see all the team of the Calvin Klein. I remember when I got with Anne Gottlieb to see the marketing people to the Calvin Klein in the Trump Tower. Very, very glamour in this place. And I had a jacket, blue Klein, very intense blue, but I don't have another. I have just this one because I take the Concorde. I just arrived to New York, and Anne Gottlieb, she want to see the customer immediately. Well, And this lady, when she arrived in the room, he told me, "My goodness, you dress so flashy to come into Calvin Klein. Calvin Klein is no black and white. It's not flashy." I'm sorry, but I want to present this new creation, very flashy because it's so fresh, it's so intense. Maybe. If it's not sure, it's exactly what they want. 2 weeks after, he decided to, I don't know if he present to Mr. Calvin Klein, I don't remember, but is in the bottle, you know. But it's a really a hazard because he's so different of the market. The packaging are so different in this moment. When I see the first time the packaging, I'm very disappointed because I think, wow, it's so cheap. Because it's so simple. Because Calvin Klein are so elegant, so strong, so beautiful, very rich. But I think the success of the success. I think is also all the concept
Yes.
because it's so different in this moment when you see the packaging, you see the old advertising, you see the perfume. I think is my first perfume. 1 month after, everybody want to have this perfume. The Spanish, the French, the Italian, everybody. If you go to New York, don't forget, buy for me and CK1.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Everybody
Yeah.
want to have this CK1.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised because it's still every journalist and my first perfume is the CK1. My daughter, she wears the CK1. My husband wears CK1. Everybody want to have wears the CK1.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And it feels like it's still a lot of people still come to it as their first fragrance now. It's still very, very relevant. And I once had it's interesting what you say about it was a success because everything worked. I had a
yeah,
packaging designer on the podcast last season, and he was saying you have to think of it as a bubble. You have your juice, and your juice has to work. If your juice doesn't work, the whole bubble pops. But
mm,
actually, for it to be really successful, the packaging has to work, the marketing has to work, and it all works
yes.
together.
But in this moment are very expensive, the juice,
Yeah.
because we have the new molecules, you have a good bergamot, you have, it's a very simple. All my creation I try to are simple but with quality.
Yeah.
This is my devise.
Do you think the industry is moving away from that simplicity? Because you hear a lot more about lots of longevity, extra strengths, big long formulas, and you're of the school of simplicity. Every line on the formula has to have a reason.
We try. we
We try.
try. We try. Sometimes I like to check my formula and to see every element is important or not. Sometimes I take out many elements to assure the 10 element is important, or maybe 5 element is important. But it's not e- every creation are different. And
Mm,
every customer are different. When I work with some customer, it's a bigger test. I need to take care of in the creation to please and when you make a big test, you need to have many small elements to remember in the creation to assure people understand the creation. When you create some perfume for a niche are much more easier
mm,
because you need to adjust one element or two to have this personality. All the creation are different, but I need to think to my creation. I don't think sometimes I don't think to my customer. I think first to my creation because if you have too many information, sometimes I lost the intensity of the perfume. I don't think when I work for some customer I know it's a big test. I never want to think about the big test because if
mm.
you think about, you don't make nice and creative perfume. You need to think just the beauty of the element.
Yes. Otherwise, the creativity gets lost, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, absolutely. And do you remember, I think going back a little bit,
Yeah.
what was your first, when were you first aware that a perfumer was a role that you could do? When did you first experience the world of being a perfumer? Because I know you sort of had an interesting in, didn't you, at Firmenich?
Yes. I'm with Firmenich after so many years. Why
Mm.
with Firmenich? Because it gave me the opportunity when I am a young with just passion, but
Mm.
nothing more. And it gave me the opportunity to start to work in this lab with this perfumer, very, very sad and very intense guy. Oh my goodness. But I smell the jasmine, I smell the rose, I smell all these elements. I'm so happy to work in this place. And everybody know I made some in the night, I made some experiments to have the element together, and we create my first perfume, in the night. Nobody see because I'm not authorized to have to make these experiments in this lab. And I give this my sample. I give to the marketing most important gentleman. It's Jean-Pierre Landais. I'm very close with him, and he gave my first experiments, and he loves so much. He presents to the customer, and the customer like and buy. And for this, my career start. But now it's almost impossible to have
Mm.
this type of cursus, to create. But all my life are different. I start a very atypical in Firmenich, because in this moment we don't have school. Now
Mm.
we have so many school to learn and to have this possibility to believe to become a perfumer. But this moment you have just this opportunity to work if your brother, if your father or your uncle are perfumer, you have more chance to become perfumer. But the most important for me, I have the passion.
Mm.
From the beginning, my life, when I know behind a bottle is a man, I read in the Vogue Mr. Guerlain create perfumes, and I think immediately I want to become perfumer. But it's funny because I work with Mr. Guerlain for the Samsara. I worked many times with him. And I'm very impressed, with Guerlain house. For me, it's the quintessence of the French
Mm.
perfume. The elegance, the the clean of the perfume. And I love to smell the Guerlain perfume because it's so old, old and very modern also.
Mm. Yeah,
When
they
I smell Abbey Rouge, I smell Shalimar because I know very well Thierry Vasser, and sometimes I smell with him, and I think, oh my goodness, still so different and unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Timeless in a way, aren't they, those
Yes,
fragrances?
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard you talk about passion a lot. So I was very lucky to come to a talk that you did with the Fragrance Foundation and Alice Tupac, who's a good friend of mine. And you talked about passion there as being kind of your key ingredient almost in your work. What is it
Yeah.
that makes you so passionate about perfumery? I know it's your job and you have to be passionate, but it's more than that, isn't it, for you?
Okay, I tell you,
Yeah.
if you choose this direction to a perfumer, you need to think just all the perfumes. In the night, you need to think, you need to smell all the perfume in the market. You need to remember, you need to learn and to duplicate, not to make it duplicate, no, but you need to understand. To need to
Yes.
make after with 3 or 4 elements, you need to create l'image of the picture of the perfumes.
Yes,
You
not to
need
create a
to,
dupe, but to
yeah,
understand
yeah,
how
the
things are
dupe,
being
dupe.
made.
Don't talk about the dupe. I'm very
No.
furious about
Yeah,
this.
yes,
I'm
yes,
very
I can
furious
imagine.
because one thing we need to work so many years to create a perfume. After in 5 minutes, you have the duplication. Well, you
Yeah.
dupe. Okay, understand also because it's too expensive the perfume. I need to understand the people are need to buy also perfume cheaper. But for this, you have we start one that I'm very poor. Start with the Cologne,
Yes, yeah.
but not the dupe because in this moment we don't have dupe. Okay, I think you need to think. You know, after 53 years, I'm in this market, but every day I work the same when I'm young. You need to have this illusion to create the illusion to have the best in the bottle. You need to have this illusion. If you don't have illusion, it's better you never start in this job. And now it's much more easy now because when I start, you have so many. You don't have many perfume in the market. You don't have so many chance to create perfumes. Now you have so many. Every company made some variation for the summer, for the winter. You have many possibility to create perfumes. Before, when I start most de Cartier, you know, it's my first big. I'm so happy, and I'm very. When I smell this perfume, is still very modern. It's a very green, very simple. It's a floral green sensation, and I'm very happy when I smell my old classical because I see the formula. I think I'm very proud because all my formula are very simple to understand and to compound. Because when we are young, I don't have my assistant. I need to compound every night at 5 o'clock when the people go to home. I start to in the lab to make my perfume. For this, I want to make this short.
Yeah, makes your own life easier then.
Yeah.
Definitely. And one of the things I think about as well as this passion is a slightly rebellious spirit, because I think about a man who, as you've said, you started out at Firmenich working, I think, in research, and you weren't supposed to be being a perfumer, but you were secretly. Do you think you continue that rebellious spirit today through your work? Are you a rebel at heart?
You know, the people never change. I think I'm the same, but with more experience. But the I never start with an old formula. I like to start with not white page. Almost, I like to have 3 or 4 elements to put together to try with the new molecules. For me, it's a very important because is a color. The for the painter, you know, when you have a new blue, you have a new red, you have a new green. It's a very motivate to create a new perfume with these molecules. Of course, after I like to put very a noble ingredient of the bergamot, jasmine, and many things. But this is very classical. If you don't have these new molecules, you don't. It's almost impossible to create a new sensation. Look, when you have this type of praline now, the praline everybody love to use this praline because the people understand it's a very figurative. When you smell the perfume, you smell sugar, smell vanilla, and maybe a rose. Everybody understand, and everybody are happy to wear. And you need to, when it's too abstract, the perfume is too complicated, the people don't understand. And are very boring, you know, to smell what makes strange odors. You need to have
Yes.
all the time a nice souvenir in the creation to understand why you like to wear this perfume.
Yeah, a reference point that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what people are looking for. And one of the things you've done throughout your career, which I think is really interesting, is you, for say, like, you know, CK1 or the ones you've done with D&G for Kenzo Flower, you often are also working on the flank flankers of those fragrances over time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because obviously you can then pay homage to the original, because I think a good flanker is one that's new and interesting, but also has some familial
Yes.
resemblance. And also, like, when I think about the work you did for Gucci, you were very much creating an aesthetic there, like an olfactory aesthetic. Do you quite enjoy that sort of revisiting the things you've done and trying to make them new again?
You know, with Gucci are very different because
Mm,
my relationship with Alessandro Michele are
mm,
so strong, and he loves so much to create, to smell perfume. I see him in the studio many times, and we decide together which direction he wants I go. Um, but not everybody are the same.
mm.
But with him, we are very strong creation together. And we are very infusion, very happy. But when I work with Mr. Armani, because I work also many times with extinction with Acqua di Gio, we made so many directions. But for me, it's much easier because you have already the direction. After, you need to change, but it's much, much easier because it's the same. You know the where we need to go. It's more technical. We need to change, but not too much changing. You just need to make a little bit in the same spirit. But now everything changed because the extension of a line extension or of the new flanker. Sometimes he want to are too different. People don't understand him anymore because when they smell Acqua di Gio, they don't smell anymore the sense of the Acqua di Gio. But I made so many with Acqua di Gio, and I have the good luck because sometimes the new interpretation is still number one or number two. It's not so easy to have this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see that and how you can bring new life into those
Yes,
compositions and then
and
also be as successful. Yeah. And I think what you're saying about Gucci is really interesting because the fusion that you talk about is so clear in the finished work. Because
oh, yeah.
I think with a fashion house, the fragrances should be almost a distillation of what that fashion house represents. And I think about Gucci, your work for them is bohemian, it's ethereal, it's botanical. And you look at the bottles and you look at the marketing, it all just fits very nicely. And I think it's such a nice fusion together, as you say. Fusion is such a great word for that.
Okay, sometimes you have the creator love perfume, and
Mm.
sometimes he don't understand the perfume.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to to have this. The perfume are abstract. Nobody can see. You need to. It's very complicated to smell it. Everybody can make emotion.
Mm.
I don't like because it's too fresh. I don't like because it's too woody. I don't like because it's too sweet. But the perfumer need to think and to change this is not so easy
Mm.
because everybody tell me an impression of the perfume, and I know to listen, to think, to check, because nobody see the formula.
Mm.
I'm alone to see the
Yes.
formula. For this, it's not so easy, because
Mm.
the other creator or the other people from the marketing, he tell me many things. But when you see the formula, you need to understand the story of your perfume and to change in the direction of you think is the best. But it's not so easy. No, no,
Yeah.
it's a very hard job for the creator, for me, for the customer. No, it's a very technical and creative in même time.
Yeah. It's like solving a problem, isn't it? You're trying to take their feedback, look at your formula, and try and work out, well, what does their feedback mean in terms of that formula and how can I change it? So it is like a
Yes,
puzzle in a way.
but you need to listen. You
Yes.
need to understand, and this is not so easy because everybody have the feeling of the emotion what he smelled your perfume or the perfume you are in work. If you change too much, people lost the direction. If you don't change, the people is boring for him because they don't see the difference. You need to change to surprise, to our different, but not too much, too much different. You need to try. Okay, it's an alchemy, and sometimes I don't understand. But when you have something inside this, and the element all the time is the same. It's the same. You have the bergamot, you have the patchouli, you have the rose. Everything is inside. You change a little bit, it changes everything.
Yeah.
You change another lead, you become a leader of the market. For me, every day after 53 years, I'm impressed for my creation, for my formula, because it's in magic, it's a magic job.
It is 100%. And I want to explore a little bit, because we've talked a lot about how you've created for other brands and these, huge iconic fragrances that, we can see behind you in your atelier there. But I also want to move on to talk about creating for your own brand, Mizensir, because this is a very, very kind of wonderful thing that you do, that's so different, I think, from your other work. So this is a real passion project of yours. What inspired you to go out and create your own brand?
I tell you sincerely, it's not so easy because I'm alone. Sometimes my daughter, she tell me, "Papa, you show it, you make if you want." But I want to make a big success. Of course, I want to create something very unique. But it's very difficult when nobody tell you exactly what he wants. But it's sure I'm alone in my creation. Mizensir is my brand. I want to create also very exclusive, not revolutionary, because in the perfumery I like to have the quality in my creation. And I try to create this type of the sensation, quality. When you wear it, when you take a cashmere and you smell one day after, I need to have this softy, very elegant, very strong also. It's a very an alchemic sensation, but I try to make a nice creation. But now you have so many in the market, it's not so easy. But when you put something with the heart, I think the people understand. L'amour, the love in my job, people understand when they smell.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine they do. And one of the things that strikes me about this is, how different the creative process must be, because you're working to a brief. Normally you get a brief set, you're working with someone who's giving you their feedback to say, oh, more this, less this. But this is your thing. This is entirely you set the direction. So is that creative process really, really different for you? Is it freer?
Oh, yes, but I have my family I give to wear, and and but I'm alone to take the decision. What I stop, to stop to tell. Okay, I don't want to make more modification.
Hmm.
It's very hard
Hmm.
because sometime in the morning I think, wow, if you make just a little bit more woody, I'm sure it's better. But you need to decide one moment. Stop. I stop. I don't want to try. And after, I don't want to see more the formula because I'm too, I try to change again. But, it's not so easy, I tell you. But, it's just when you create a perfume, it's just pleasure. It's just sensation. We don't are in the medical sensation, you
Hmm.
are just a pleasure to
Hmm.
smell good, to try to have this sensation. And my my daughter-in-law, no, my daughter-in-law, my children of my daughter,
Hmm.
she love now to smell also, and she give me the impression, oh, grandpapa, I prefer the version before the other. And I listen why she prefer the other version, Well, sometimes I find, oh, maybe it's just dry. It's better when it's more fresh.
Yeah. So
And
you can't do it completely in isolation. You need to have some form of feedback, don't you, I
yes,
suppose?
because it's very important to have the feedback of the other people around of you. You know, I love to work with marketing ladies or marketing men who work with me. I like to exchange because it's a job you need to exchange. If you are alone in your studio and you think you are the best and you think you make the best perfume, forget of this. The reality is when your perfume is in the street, when your perfume are in the store, you realize you are one more of the others, and you need to are different. And this is very difficult to are different, but not strange. You know, I don't like this perfume very strange, very intellectuals. No, I like the perfume. It's a pleasure. It's just to smell, to have to are happy when you wear.
So you're not about creating things that are challenging or confrontational. It's all about it's got to be pleasurable and enjoyable.
Yes, but sometimes this new style of perfume are too strange, very smell bad, or terrible. To you know, to you know, when you eat something is too salty or is too peppery, it's not good. But the
Mm.
perfume is the same. It's just to are creative. It's very easy to creative because you put a lot of aldehyde, you put a lot of things. But after you need to sell. This
Mm.
is a very complicated to enjoy to make. Okay, it's very easy, but to sell to people every day when you spray in your in your home and you smell so my goodness, too strange. It's no, it's I don't.
Yeah,
It's not my style.
it's not your
I
style.
like to are classical and beautiful.
Yes. Well, I'm all for that. And I wonder with Mizensir, where do your ideas start for your perfumes? Where do they start? Do you start with the material or do you start with the story? Where does the idea come from?
I s- I s- I start. I'm very concerning when I start with Mizensir because I want to create something perfect, and the
Mm.
perfection is impossible to create. The imperfection, he become the big success. But it's sure when I start with Mizensir, I want quality. I want to have a lot of quality with the because the price for me is not the most important because I don't have a jewelry, I don't have a bottle very exclusive. Have is a perfume in mise en cire. The most important is to have a good perfume inside. I start many direction because I have almost 20 direction in this moment, and I need to decide which one I want to put in the market. But I like to have a lot of choice in my collection, and I try to make the best. It's not so easy to make the best.
It's not, but you do make very, very beautiful things for mise en cere, and I like the elegance of it. Like you say, the bottles are very simple.
Voilà.
It's all about centering the fragrance. It's an exploration of a style, an accord, a material.
Yeah.
And we have your new one here, which is just coming out, which is Chiffre Royale,
Ah, yes.
which is
Ah,
this
yes.
beautiful take on woods. And it's you're speaking to this kind of, I suppose, this shift towards quiet luxury with something called like neo woody fragrances. And why do you think woody fragrances are shifting towards this sort of softer, quieter aesthetic?
But for this one, I want to create something very mysterious.
Okay.
It's the Chiffre Royale. Is also when you go to the casino, you you hope the good number to win. It's also in a place very imagination, very expensive, very unique, very woody. I have a very special wood inside, real wood. I have two type of wood. I have also a rose um, from grass. It's the most beautiful rose. I have also the cypriol because the cypriol for me is my fetish ingredients, and I and also it's a 30%. It's very high level, and okay, I want to make this perfume for this unique place. It's Harold. I want to create something different.
Mm.
And okay, we'll see next week because we go to New York to London to present to the people. Maybe I love to wear, and it's sure it's a very strong. It's a lot of personality because when I wear, everybody think, "Oh my goodness, you smell very perfumy." Yeah, I think yes, I want to smell very scandaloso perfume.
It's a very very interesting fragrance because the oud is very front and center, and you get some of that rich animalic intensity of the oud. But I think the rose just softens it, so it
Yeah.
doesn't feel, it's not punchy. It's very elegant. So, was your inspiration? You said your inspiration was a casino, was it? Did you say for this?
When I have here, I smell with you. I like to have this smoky
Mm,
sensation, very rich
mm,
sensation of elegant and also very intensity of the creation. Because
mm,
I think now everybody want to have this personality when he wear a perfume.
mm,
Because you don't need to put too much also. You just to put a little bit and you have this sensation of the quality. You don't, it's the same. You need to cry. No, you need to have the nice sensation of the melody of the perfume.
mm,
Okay, I'm very, you know, it's the same. When it's very new, I'm very happy to see the different very soon in the market.
mm,
But I'm sure it's different. I like the number Chiffre Royale. It's a very strange. You need to think because
mm.
it's so hard to find a new name. My goodness! Oh, every name
They're all
it's
taken.
yes. You need to find. You need to pay so much money to select the name but okay, it's a nice. I love to create a perfume. I love to see all my customer. I'm very close for my customer from the beginning, and I enjoy my new life in my studio.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this is such a beautiful fragrance because it does have that sort of there's a refinement to it and an elegance of it. It doesn't. I think so many fragrances now are these sort of powerhouses where they go on and on and on and last forever. And this fragrance does have presence. It's there. You can smell it, and it's not, it's not a cologne by any means, but it's not. It's got a refinement that it's kind of sits at the right level, if that makes sense. It's not. It doesn't punch you in the face, I would say, which is nice.
But it's funny because I take the formula because I know we need to spoke together. And when I see the formula are very simple. Every
Mm,
element are in the place. The vanilla is a vanilla bourbon. The most beautiful molecule is the wood leather. Is it very important s- very smoky, very oud sensation. I have also the vetiver, a fraction of vetiver. It's very simple, but this one I work so much because I want really people understand is a new piece of art.
mm. Yeah, a new style of sort of woody fragrance, a very elegant woody.
And no sex. It's a feminine and masculine because
Mm,
I want to create this creation. I don't want to see it's for men for women. No, it's for people who love perfume and he want to smell perfume very intense.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what's next for Mizensir? What will we see in the future? What can you share with us?
Or the future, I work a new floral, very 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 simple,
Okay.
very. It's the same to my garden. I have a beautiful garden. I
Yes.
want to make this the sensation of my garden in the morning. In the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning because I get up very early, and I like to smell my garden when it's very no sun, just a watery sensation, and all my rose, white rose, peony rose, very green sensation and very light sensation. And this is my next next creation. Very very fresh and very light, very
Okay.
petally sensation.
I look forward to that, being transported to your garden, which I know you
Yeah.
love very, very dearly. And I suppose I would be really remiss in not asking you my next question, because it's very, very rare I get to speak to a perfumer who's been in the industry as long as you have and as successful as you have. I imagine some people listening to this might be thinking of a career in perfumery, and I wondered if you had any advice for anybody who might be interested in becoming a perfumer. What advice would you give them?
Okay. I see the new generation are very passionate also, because we can start in this is not a job, it's a passion job. I'm very impressed because this young guy, young ladies, he love perfumes, and he don't have a father or uncle of perfumer. He want to start from passion, and I think I see many is very talented. I think all this new generation, we have so many young. I see also Japanese, Chinese, very many cultural are so passionate, and I'm very happy to see all this young generation, very passionate, very smart, love perfume, you want to create perfume because it's very difficult, very to find a job. This is unbelievable. It's the same when you go to the ballet of the opera. It's a very hard, many competition, many. But he start and he want to become a perfumer, and it's so difficult,
Mm.
but I have this passion, and I'm very happy because I see because all the people tell me, oh, the intelligence, nobody, we don't need anymore to have a perfumer. Okay, maybe, but the creation need to have a heart inside. If you
Mm.
have just technical sensation, I don't think you have a good long last good story of the. I think we need to work a lot, and to every element need to are in the good place.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And if you have the passion, you should absolutely follow it. Alberto, what a joy to speak to you. I've really
Thank you,
enjoyed having
Thomas.
an insight into your world. Thank you
Thank you.
very much for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
I think you'll agree that Alberto really is such a wonderfully fascinating man. I really enjoyed hearing about his creative process, and the key thing that really stood out to me is his passion. He absolutely loves what he does, and that shows in his work. Alberto is on Instagram, so you can follow him there at morillas.alberto. You can find out more about Mizensir at mizensir.com or on Instagram at Mizensir. Chiffre Royale is available at Harrods. Definitely take a moment to swing by and give it a sniff. It's such a luxurious take on woods. All of those details will be in the show notes for you, so do look those up for spellings, etc. That, unfortunately, is the end of the season, but what a way to end it, eh? Making Sense Makes Sense will be back towards the end of the summer or the beginning of the autumn. I haven't decided yet. Until then, you can keep up with me and all of my goings on over on Instagram at Making Sense Makes Sense. A massive thank you to Carium, our sponsor for this season. The podcast simply would not happen without their support. I'm all about making fragrance and fragrance discovery more accessible, and Carium's innovative AI solution, the Scent Sommelier, offers an entirely new way to explore fragrance by translating scent into language. You can find out more at carium.com. Also, a huge thanks to you, listeners, for tuning in every single week to listen. I really appreciate it, and I hope that in this very messy and complicated world, this is a weekly hour or so of escapism for you. From me, it's TTFN, but I'll leave the last words to Alberto, who is going to tell you about the fragrances he has an emotional connection with. After all, fragrance is an emotional art form. I'll see you soon.
Okay, I want to talk about two creations. One is a Perfect Oud from Mizensir, because it's unbelievable. This oud, all the people love in the state, in France. And I have also one for me, it's Acqua di Gio, because Acqua di Gio, after 32 years, is still with the same modernity. Freshener, very unbelievable because the cologne still everybody use now the cologne in the perfumes, but it's new to imagine 35 years ago I used this cologne with Paradision, and we have this sensation of the freshness with the bergamot. For me, the big classical one, Mizensir with the oud, very different without oud, puisque Perfect Oud, we don't have oud. But you have this sensation very mysterious, and you have the Acqua the fresh, very easy to wear, and the people love in the world, and it's still very successful. Voila.